Hi YouTube, Tim Unkert from UnkertEducation.com here. In this video, we're going to create forms in HTML. So I have my simple HTML file open called forms.html, and we're going to create a form. So let's type a form tag. So I'm going to do form and hit tab, and with Emmet, that's going to give me a form here, and you'll see it has an action. The action is the page that's going to process the form. I'm just going to put a hashtag because that requires like PHP or Python, something like that on the back end. We're just doing the structure of the form, which is HTML. So inside the form, we're going to have our labels and inputs. And a lot of times we have divs separating these. So we can create a div here, and a div has an opening and closing tag. And then we can have an input, and we can give it a type. And if we just want a text input, we could just do text. Now an input is a self-closing tag, so we don't have the closing tag for it. We just have one tag. For the input, we typically have a label. And to have a label work with an input, we have to give the input an attribute, which is called ID, which we used in a previous video to link between pages. So let's say I wanted to someone to put their first name in. I'd give an ID of first name, and you notice there that I did lowercase for first and then uppercase for name. That's camel case. That's one of those kind of standards that you use. Okay, so now I'm going to create a label, and I'm going to say label for, and I'm going to give the ID of first name. Okay, and the label has a closing tag, so we could say something like enter your first name. Okay, and let's just preview what this looks like. So let's view this, and if I open this in my default browser, you'll see we have this enter your first name with the input right there. I'm going to zoom in a bit on this. Okay, so if I click on this, it'll focus me in this input. That's how the ID and the for from the label link up. Okay, so you want to do that for accessibility. And now I could start typing my first name, Tim, and so on. Okay, so we're well on our way to starting our form. Now for each input, we'll typically separate it by a div. So I'm going to create another div here. And I'm going to have another input. This time the type is going to be email. And I'm also going to give it an ID of email. Okay, and I'm going to go above here and create a label, and I'll again give it the for attribute, and I'll select email, and I'll say enter your email. Okay, now if I go look at the preview here, there we go, it's refreshed. You'll see it looks kind of the same, but the thing with this is that it will only accept the format of an email. So you're going to have the @ sign in an input that is for email. Okay? So that kind of does validation checking for you. Okay? Let's create another div here. I'm going to say got it. Okay. Div, and we'll do an input, and we'll give the type equal to password. And I'm going to give an ID of password as well. Okay, and then I'll go above here and create a label, and we'll say for password, and I'll say enter your password. Okay, and now if I go here and I start to type, you'll even see Google suggests a strong password. Use a strong password. Okay, but when I type, you'll see it covers up what I'm typing. So that's the difference between the password input. Okay. All right. Another one we can do is we could create an input of the type number. And we could say maybe the ID is the age because they want to enter their age. So now we do a label here, label for age, and we'll say enter your age. And just to make these look a little bit better, I'm going to do some break tags after each of these divs. Typically in CSS, you would do that to style it, but let's just give it a little spacing here. Okay. All right, and so now we're a little spaced out. You can see what's happening. All right, so here you'll see these arrows up and down. Now if I try and type A or S or any other letter, it's not going to let me. But if I type a number, then that's all good, and I can move up the numbers down, up and down here. So you can add age. Now there are many different types of inputs. One that's important though that I want to show you, one final one, is the submit. Okay, so I'm going to create another div here, and we're just going to have an input, and we'll say the type equals submit. Okay, and now this is going to give us a submit button. Now if I go to submit this, you're just going to see the hashtag up here because we had the action equal to the hashtag. Okay, a couple more things about the form that you may see, or you probably will see. A lot of times you'll have a method. Post is the more secure one than get. So a lot of times you'll see post. You also see on these inputs, you may see an attribute like name equals first name. And a lot of times it'll match the ID, but what this will be used for is for processing on the back end. And you can also add attributes like required. Okay, so if I go to submit, it goes, please fill out this field because I gave it the required attribute. Okay, so that's a little bit about forms. Hopefully this video was helpful to you. If it was, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.